Good evening and welcome back to the Radical Fabulatorium. I'm your host, Sean Adamian. You're tuned into local FM 107.3, and I'm sitting in the booth right now with Penny Blacks. I've got Clinton, Jason, Jen, and Chris.
Hey, Jay.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Lovely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming in. It's a pretty nice night out there.
It's great.
Yeah, cool. So how many people call you the Penny Blacks?
All.
Everyone, right? Yeah,
everyone.
including me up until like 15 minutes ago. That's cool. Yeah, so what's going on?
Not much.
Yeah.
Just having a chill Sunday night,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
summer's just kicking off. Well, close enough anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like it today.
Yeah, it's nice and warm.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I bet it was nice at Uptown today. I didn't get out there, but
Yeah, I mean, it's no fog at least. That's a start.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Cool. So I was listening to, so I was kind of curious, the last week or so, I've been listening to all the records or the releases I came across by Penny Blacks. And I've been kind of interested in the way the music shifted. Like we were listening to some tunes from Harbor,
Yes.
but then also got pretty stripped down on the EP.
Moleskin weather?
Yeah, Moleskin Weather. So I've been kind of interested in the transition, like how you went from that kind of vibe. I'm saying that if the members kind of changed. Like you're the main songwriter, right, Jason? Or,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one, the shift from the previous album to that one was kind of like I had moved to Toronto, and I was kind of like writing and recording stuff on my own up there, and kind of like came up with an EP's worth of songs, and I thought, well, this kind of works on its own, so I'll release it. And I was doing a lot of solo shows still under the name Penny Blacks anyway, so it was nice to have a product to kind of go along with the shows.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So yeah, and I'd done previously a couple of other EPs just solo under the name Penny Blacks, and then Harbor was the first full band sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
So it just kind of came about naturally. Then, so as a taking it all in 1 week kind of deal, like really listening closely, it felt like it got a little darker at that moment. Was that on purpose or?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was on purpose, but there was probably a reason for it. I think a lot of the material over the years has probably stayed pretty dark from what people have told me. Like my dad used to give me crap and say like, why are your songs so damn sad?
So damn sad. Okay. yeah.
So he's like, why don't you write something happy? And I'm like, well, if it occurs to me and it happens,
Yeah.
that it happens.
If it's natural.
Yeah, I'm not gonna force it. Yeah.
I think probably too, like the nature of making music on your own
Yeah.
versus with a band is going to take on a different
Yeah.
tone anyway, and that might be darker just because
Yeah.
you're in your own head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. I think I'm one of those people that I don't. If I'm doing well and I'm quote unquote happy, that doesn't really move me to write anything.
Yeah. That's a big debate whether artists have to kind of live in that darkness a little bit or not. Whether you can have happy
Yeah.
artists.
Have you ever tried to write a happy song? It's really hard.
It's really difficult.
It becomes so cliche right away. It's really hard to write something happy.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound to me, and I may be biased just because I don't know, the darkness or whatever, but happiness. I feel like if I start trying to write that, it's forced and it feels wrong.
Yeah.
And it feels cheesy and kind of cliche for me.
For you,
I hear happy songs that are amazing.
Yeah.
Somebody's doing a good job.
Someone's doing it. It's funny you say that, and maybe I probably told this story before, but in Sussex, I was at a songwriting thing with a guy who's from Sussex, but he lives in Nashville. He's been there for 30 years. And he was visiting family in Sussex or whatever, so he did a quick little thing at Morris Music for songwriters, and there's probably 20 or 30 songwriters there. And someone asked him, what could I do to get to break into the scene if I wanted to go down to Nashville, and he said, learn how to write happy songs. Because any songs that you hear on a record that are the sad, sappy songs are the ones the artist actually wrote.
Right.
And that everything else would be written by songwriters.
Yeah.
And everyone in the room was
that's funny.
deflated a little bit.
Oh, for sure. If you hear a really a good happy song, like I said, I find it's really hard to do. And if you hear a good one, wow, that's amazing if somebody can make it work.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you probably won't hear a Penny Blacks cover of Hey Ya anytime.
Yeah. Maybe Bombs over Baghdad.
Yeah, man.
That'd be better. So, okay, that makes me think too about, the Engineer, that's a new single, or newest single, right?
Yep.
That was done over the pandemic.
Yep.
same vibe, or were you with the group?
That one was it was like the first time we kind of got together. Some of the band got together after all the restrictions.
Okay.
So Chris and Clinton came up to my place, and I had like a little studio set up, and we were just testing out like new mics and gear and the setup.
Oh, cool.
I'm pretty sure Jason tricked us. Actually, he was like, just see what this sounds like. Just play a little bit, and we played for a little bit. And he recorded it, and he's like, that sounds cool. And then, like, a week or two later, he sent us a song. It was a song. And we maybe played, like, two chords. Yeah. And then two other chords.
Yeah.
And then Jason came back, and it was, like, a whole full song. We were like, holy cow. Like, I think he tricked us.
He tricked you, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's like a sneaky producer move.
I know. I
can't record.
Planted the whole thing.
Yeah. You like mastermind the whole thing.
It's funny because like now the song live, that we've been rehearsing it for some upcoming live shows has like more defined parts now, and like I'm doing different things than I did on that, and it's like, well, yeah, because I didn't know I was making a song.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like, now it's kind of alive and morphing a little bit.
Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah. I mean, they all kind of have actually live, but yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. No, that one's fun with to play with the full band, like having added Jen and Jeff Smith recently. It's kind of adds a whole to that tune, but also everything else kind of has a whole new dimension to it. Like Jen's doing some really great harmonies and like adding some some Rhodes and piano and keys and stuff. So it's really kind of like giving the things a whole new angle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's really cool. Yeah.
And what about the strings? Like, so when I saw you folks a few weeks ago, I don't think strings were there. Did you have a string player?
We had a violinist
at the Five and Diamond when I.
No.
Allie hasn't played with us since before the pandemic.
Okay.
And she may play with us again. She's always it's just like just hasn't come together yet. But
schedules.
Yeah, we're working on like recording a new album, and we'll probably get her to come and play on it. So
because she obviously adds a pretty. So it's her on all the recordings.
Yeah.
So you can hear. I mean, she's obviously adding. Is that her arranging the string parts, or is that
she and I usually sit down and kind of work it out? Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because that's a nice twist on the whole project. Really, it's like as an outsider.
Yeah, I really like how it adds like sometimes we multi-track and try to get like a Phil Spector symphonic thing going, and that sounds really cool. But also just like the lone kind of loneliness, the sound of like the violin with the a little reverb or something sounds really cool.
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
And there's one song in particular where it sounded like, actually I made note of it here. Heaven Help Your Heart, I guess it was the one that played right before we came on the air.
Yeah.
There's like, I don't know if it's a synth sound or is it the violin being affected to kind of like sound chorusy or something like that. Like there's something interesting in that mix.
Yeah, that was Dan Chamberlain, who you may know from Shrimp Ring and a few other projects. He was in the band at that time, and he always brought weird synthesizing toys.
Cool.
And I think that was actually like a theremin type thing.
Oh, really?
He was using,
That's even cooler.
Yeah.
At times the band's been as big as 9 people.
Oh, wow. Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's been through quite that's so cool.
Yeah, it just kind of whittled down to a 4-piece for a while. Now we're back up to 5. So
it breathes. It's alive.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
And also in that same song, there's like a crow in the mix, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know this actually.
Was that was obviously planned, or is that part of me wishes like I'm hoping there was like an open window somewhere or something in the recording.
Well, actually, I was like just walking around uptown with listening to the mixes as we were mixing, and like just making mental notes of what needed to be adjusted. And I was listening to a mix of Heaven Help Your Heart, and there was a crow just overhead or whatever, and he caught at that moment as I was listening. I thought that sounded really cool. So I found a crow sample or whatever and put it
That's
in.
awesome. Yeah. I didn't see any credits in the liner notes for that crow.
I don't want to hear from his agent, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not.
It's like an educational interview. I had no idea.
Well, hopefully this episode doesn't get chosen by SoCan as like the college radio review, Yo, some money. That's cool. I like that. I like when that stuff happens. That's obviously why I caught that right. And in fact, actually, I thought I was hearing something like, is there a crow in my apartment? And I had to rewind it.
Good catch.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people notice that, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I really dig it. So you're now 5-piece.
We are. Yep.
And so Area 506 is coming up. You'll gig in there, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that would be pretty cool. Speaking of like uptown and in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be a good time.
So is this your first time playing Area 506?
We played before.
We played the first one.
First or second, yeah. The one before pandemic, I think.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah.
That's awesome. How long it's been going?
Jay played it solo too.
Yeah, one of the
a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the reduced sort of pandemic versions I played solo. Yeah.
Cool. But this year will be pretty well. I mean, it's pretty cool seeing the Container Village kind of
That's
stick
a cool
around
spot.
full time now. And
Yeah, I played there on Friday night, just doing like a solo thing, and it was great. You know, there was way more people than I realized. You know, as I looked up and let's go, there's decks up here and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
so it was
Very
great.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I find it so it's like I've been living in St. John for like maybe 7 or 8 years, and it seems like all this growth is happening really quickly. And it's like
Yep.
I'm always kind of interested as like an outsider. I automatically assume it's good for the city. Like as someone who's like kind of always wonder why St. John's been a little like whatever, like down, like kind of like cynic. And I suffer from I'm like a recovering New Brunswick cynic for sure, 100%. But so I'm always kind of interested in that, like if it's truly all like a good. I know there's like the problem with can be a problem with gentrification and that sort of stuff. But like as someone as like viewing it from the outside, it seems so exciting. But I'm kind of curious if that's true for everyone, or does that make any sense?
I struggle a bit, you know, but you know, I'm trying to maintain a positive outlook on things, but I struggle a bit because you know, the clearly, you know, it doesn't take you just need a pair of eyes to know that the homeless problem is, you know, bigger than I've ever seen it. You know, unemployment is skyrocketing. You know, there was a call center boom here in the 90s, and you know, we're starting to see the you know, the dust that left behind. But with that said, yep, there's lots of exciting things happening on the waterfront. You know, it seems like there's a can-do attitude amongst the city now that, you know, maybe wasn't there before, and that's great too. But you know, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool. You know, I've always got my it's us against everyone kind of attitude. But I think that probably comes as a product of the time I was brought up in, you know, more so than now. But you know, trying to embrace the changes, trying to stay positive. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that my bandmates you know, adopt the same viewpoint that I have, but I look at it cautiously optimistic. You know,
I think it's a good thing. I mean, as long as nobody's getting squeezed out by it. Like we definitely had our problems. We jam uptown on Canterbury, and there was a period there where developers were trying to push us out of our jam space, basically. You know, there's complaints every weekend where there wasn't before, and like, you know, they're trying to put the screws to our landlord, and there's things like that. Like that's not cool. But I love seeing new bars and new restaurants and, you know, new art spaces and things like that.
Yeah.
As long as nobody's getting edged out or, you know, you shouldn't be displaced just because there's progress, you know. And it's always like, you know, people on the edge of the spectrum are artists who seem to be the first to go, right? Like, I think the homeless issue and just crime and stuff I think that's not just New Brunswick. I think since the pandemic, it's just people have gotten real desperate everywhere. Yeah. But it's happening here like everywhere else, and that's rough too. It's kind of scary, just that aspect of it. But
I didn't really necessarily mean to bring up that whole, because that can go down so many different like political opinion directions. I was really thinking like about I phrased it kind of strangely, but like about the art scene, like what you're talking about, getting like people getting edged out of jam spaces, and like more people paying attention to the scene. Obviously newcomers moving to the city too, and then trying to get involved in the local scene. The new bars and that sort of thing. But yeah, net positive probably. Would that be a good way to think about it? Yeah,
I think so. I remember like when I was younger and like trying to find places for my band to play, it was difficult. And we always say, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we had festivals here that would do this kind of music? Or, you know, like an all ages club, or like even a bar that would let us play. But there wasn't anything like that. And we were like, this city like sucks, man. And, you know, you try to put up a flyer and somebody's like, you know, calling the city council saying that you're littering, or, you know, it's like, it's so silly. It's like, because I remember being like, I'd go to like, you know, Portland, Maine or Montreal, and there's flyers and art everywhere. And it just makes it look like shit's happening. Sorry. That stuff's happening. But in St. John back then, you'd be like, somebody would, you know, throw a fit if you put up a punk poster on a fence uptown, right? Crazy. But now it's just like, that stuff's, it's commonplace here.
It's more accommodating. Yeah. And with the technology too, I mean, you can advertise. Like you're not so reliant on posters. Like I can remember that too, putting up posters around Sussex and stuff, and then people complaining and they just didn't like the name of the band, so they would cause a big stink about it.
I know. It's just so weird.
The all ages thing is interesting though, because I feel like the time when I was gonna like Hospital Grey is one of the first bands I remember discovering, like when I was learning about local music. And that kind of era, so that's like 2002. Like I remember coming around 2002, probably 2000,
Right.
something like that. Anyway, it's like it seemed to be like the all ages like ebb and flow, like because you need someone younger to pass the torch to for the all ages scene to kind of help build it up and get that crowd involved.
Totally. Yeah.
So it seems to ebb and flow. So it feels like it's on the rise here in St. John with like different venues, and like they had that all ages show with Motherhood the other day or a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Yep.
I don't know if that's true or not. Like I have a hard time judging if that's actually happening, but that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I mean with Quality Block and Peter Rowan and Abby and Adam Kirsten and that whole sort of thing, they were doing all ages shows quite frequently at like Taco Pica and stuff, and it was really popular. Mm-hmm. And of course, like Taco Pica closing and the pandemic kind of put an end to that. But some of those people are opening like a new place uptown called Haven that's going to be all ages, so it's like there's still an appetite, and I think people are just kind of like chomping at the bit to get it happening again.
Yeah, I hope so. I think so too. I went to Haven's, like they did kind of like a mini fundraiser show or like a soft opening show, and like it's set up pretty well for bands and stuff. So it would be great to do some like wet dry stuff if that could happen.
Yeah,
Cool.
I hope they
That
will.
is the plan, isn't it?
That's what I always heard. Yeah, but I don't know them as well as
Yeah,
the owners. I mean.
I just run into them once in a while and ask them how it's going. Like, are you open yet?
But then you got Wasted Day too. They've been doing a lot of cool.
Yeah.
They have that Space Out Back.
Yeah.
They've been doing a lot of cool shows.
Yeah, and I've been to a couple of really cool shows at McGill's too, which is kind of filled another hole since Taco Pica kind of closed.
Yeah.
For, indie bands coming through or whatever.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what else is on tap for Penny Blacks? Do you have any new songs coming or any secret record then?
Well, it's not a secret, I guess.
We've been working on one for a while, just kind of like, like everybody else rolling with the punches since COVID, I guess. But now that we kind of been jamming regularly again and playing shows, and Jen and Jeff are kind of adding their bits to the mix, we probably should record this stuff.
Yeah, it feels like time to document.
Capture it where it is.
Yeah.
Do you usually present, now I know you were just explaining the engineer is kind of like a secret recording, but would you present the songs to the band and let them do their thing, or do you help direct?
Usually I'll write like a song and have like an arrangement that I could play solo if and then I'll take it to these guys, either send them the demo or show it to them, and then it's just like they kind of add like a whole other level. I don't give them much direction, like they don't need it, because they add things I would never think of that kind of take it to like next level, right? So
Cool.
It's usually the way it works, and then like it becomes something bigger and better.
Cool.
In my opinion, that's how I see it.
No, yeah, it's true. And maybe like Harbor era, Jay would offer more what about this kind of ideas than like even Long Lights. Well, Long Lights was a kind of a special situation because Jay was still in Toronto, but yeah, the longer we play together, the more you just kind of get to know, oh, this is where he's going, or I've been playing those songs too, so the feel kind of comes in, and I think it's getting pretty natural. I think
Yeah, natural process.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I don't even know that we're jamming a new song, like because we'll just we're just goofing around sometimes at practice playing a riff. So
Yeah.
I go, what was that, Jay? Well, that's a new one. Oh, okay, I didn't realize.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I'll do less drum rolls or something. Right? But,
Yeah, very cool.
I think, like Jen, you could probably add like an interesting perspective here because you're kind of new and you're adding things to the songs that weren't there before.
Yeah.
I think once in a while I'm like, how about a piano instead of a Rhodes? That's about all I ever do. Or vice versa. Yeah. Or an organ, That's about it. I just say she has like lots of crazy sounds, and then let's try this.
Yeah.
And sometimes I change things too.
Yeah.
It's not always the same.
Yeah, I mean that's Chris and Clinton are the same. Like they'll try different stuff all the time, even though it could be a song we've been playing for 3 years. They'll do something different.
Yeah.
Just to see how.
Cool. Well, it's nice to have that leeway a bit, right? Like I guess there's a spectrum for that for some bands, I'm sure. Like whether you want to be really precise or whether you want to like go with the flow a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just out of necessity, we kind of like aren't like this, concentrating on being like the tightest band, more just trying to do things by feel and like, have it be natural rather than, because I think if you, kind of practice and hit stuff too much and too hard, it kind of gets sterile. And we certainly aren't guilty of that because we don't play enough. Yeah. Which is kind of cool because when we jam, it's like it's still fun and like
still process.
Yeah, we still respond to each other. So it doesn't get so rehearsed that you're not even thinking about it.
I'm sure, like, I was thinking the other day, like, I bet, like, the whole Melodyne and auto-tuned and quantized and all that junk, like, it's all fun. It has its place and everything. And I've used it tons on my own music, but I feel like there's going to be, like, maybe a bunch of young people are going to try to look for the most lo-fi, dissonant, or, like, that's, I keep hearing about Guided by Voices.
Yes.
And I go back to those like, their 90 albums, and somehow I slept on them for my whole life up until, like, 2 months ago.
Me too.
You too? And I'm like, everyone's like, Guided by Voices. I'm like, maybe this is where it's going. They're going to get this lo-fi boom is going to happen because everyone is just tired of the quantized, like whether they realize it or not, like everything being perfectly in time. It's like taking away from the feeling of the human feeling. I don't know, but
I kind of wonder if things are going that way too. Like,
it always ebbs and flows a little bit, don't you find?
Yeah,
you could see
things
like
get really
70s,
sensitive
80s,
and soft and acoustic and folky for a while, and then a couple of years go by and people want to like rock,
get angsty again.
Yeah.
It gets too safe.
Yeah.
I remember it was like, what was it, like mid 2000s when all like the people that were like in emo punk and like indie rock bands, they all got like acoustic guitars, violins, banjos. Started,
That's it.
Yeah, and it went like that for a while, and then people got, I don't know, they just want, like you said, we need like a loud electric guitar again.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So it's like this strange system that just kind of keeps it in balance. But it's like progressing through time.
Yeah,
that's really interesting. Cool. I'm kind of tempted to play a tune of yours. Yours being Penny Blacks. I was going to play either The Engineer or Every Little Spot. Do you have a preference?
Do you, Glenn?
Well, we've been talking about The Engineer. Why don't we spin that?
Yeah, let's play it.
Great.
All right, cool. All right, this is The Engineer by Penny Blacks. Their latest release. We'll call it a single. Is it going to be part of an album? Is it going to be on the next album?
That's a good question. We haven't really...
See how far it evolves.
Okay, but it might be a different version because it's not...
For sure.
It'll sound different.
Yeah, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And that'd be neat. All right, this is The Engineer by Penny Blacks. All right, that was The Engineer by Penny Blacks. The secret demo that turned into a full song when no one expected it. All right, and you're listening to Local FM 107.3. I'm your host, John Adamian. Cool tune. So so you're not sure if that'll be on the next record, but if it is, it'll be in a different version.
Yeah.
Or a different arrangement, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will definitely record it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so and while the music was playing, I was telling you that I had ChatGPT compose me an intro for the band, and I kind of chickened out. I didn't read it. But now I will read it.
Awesome.
And maybe,
we want to hear it.
So I asked it to write an intro for the band after I just told it to like search the web for you folks and just see what it came up with. And then I told it to write a intro influenced by Carl Sagan.
Billions and billions.
Zillions and so this is how I should have started the show. I wish I had some of that like cool music going or something, but
Let's fact check. Chris can hum for you.
yeah, give me some humming. All right. In the cosmos of music, a constellation known as Penny Blacks emerges from the star-forged crucible of St. John, a city steeped in the mystery of the sea fog and the tang of salt air. The members of this band, each a star in their own right, align to create an auditory spectacle that illuminates the soundscape like a supernova. Navigating this celestial ensemble is Jason Ogden, the principal songwriter, a lyricist whose functions much like a cosmic cartographer, charting introspective courses through the nebula of sound. Their music ranges from the intimate whispers of distant quasars to the fiery roars of celestial bodies, tracing a journey that is both awe-inspiring and unexpected. Violinist Ali Leonard paints the canvas of their sound with hues of ethereal wonder, while drummer Clinton Charlton provides the pulsar-like rhythm, the heartbeat of the cosmic entity known as Penny Blacks. Penny Blacks is more than a band. They are a voyage of sonic discovery, a celestial expedition that spans the musical universe. reminding us of the beauty that exists in the vast expanses of our musical cosmos. Prepare yourself for this voyage as we embark on a journey that promises new constellations of sound, uncharted galaxies of rhythm, and a universe of unforgettable musical experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sitting in the room in the live booth with Penny Black.
That's out there.
Wow,
That was
grandiose.
That is
I'm thinking
accurate.
that
Grandiose
ChatGPT
is
has
the
never been to
word.
one of our shows.
No, I would say that is fact.
Wow,
100%.
that won't fit in the the 77 character field they give you to apply for a festival, though.
I'll ask it to convert it to a 77. What's the festival application?
Yeah, we'll be updating the band camp tonight.
Yeah. Can you convert this to, what does it have to be?
Oh, they're usually something ridiculous, like you got to say this in 80 words or something.
77 words? Yeah, I don't know how it'll do with that, but yeah, I don't know. I thought that was pretty accurate.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah, it's pretty flattering. It's doing it. In the vast cosmos of music, Penny Blacks emerges from St. John, navigating the auditory universe with principal songwriter Jason Ogden's introspective lyrics. Their music journeys from the intimate whispers to fiery roars, unexpected and awe-inspiring. Ali Leonard adds ethereal tones on violin, with Clinton Charlton pushing the rhythm on drums. More than just a band, Penny Blacks is a sonic voyage, a cosmic expedition in music. Prepare for a journey through uncharted galaxies of rhythm and constellations of unforgettable sound.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not too bad.
there
I
it
mean,
is.
there it is.
I mean, it's similar but different.
Yeah,
too,
it's
the
similar, yeah,
second
yeah.
version.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And the guy who wrote this, his name's Chad.
Chad, yeah, you can follow him on Instagram.
love that.
Okay, so let's go back to you, Jen, because you're the new member.
It's true.
And so you also do vocal harmonies?
I do.
So,
Yes.
and you just give it? Like, you just kind of,
I like being in the background.
yeah. Well, you just feel it out? You just feel So, like, I recorded harmonies for the first time ever on my last release, and
Oh.
I absolutely hated the experience, 100%.
Really?
And I'm just curious, like, do you plan your harmonies, or do you, like, just, do you know what you're singing in terms of, like, fourths and fifths? Or
I
do
think
you
I
just
listen
kinda-
to things over and over, and then something just kind of comes to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll start trying something, and if it sounds good, then I stick with it.
Yeah, you just trust it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That's
there's
good.
always like a couple of notes that I can't figure out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll actually sit down and figure out what notes I'm playing. And then I'll usually figure out what the missing like note in the chord is to make the harmony.
Uh-huh. Okay. Cool.
Do you think of it in terms of like fourths and fifths and all? Like, is that in
No.
your head?
No, you don't do that?
Okay.
No.
Cool.
I just think of it as
hear
like-
it.
You do a higher one.
Yeah.
or I'll go lower.
Higher and lower. Yeah. Well, sometimes like thinking about that in the way of like energy, like because a higher adds like more high energy, and
Yeah.
that's kind of how I would sometimes think about it. But, yeah.
Well, Clinton and Jen kind of have been, because Clinton's always done
Yeah.
harmonies and backing vocals, and now that Jen's doing
To be honest, I'm singing a lot of. I'm just singing
know
a lot
the
of
words,
Clinton's
so you know
harmonies. I didn't make them up a lot of them; they were already there.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, words are important.
But sometimes we've been taking it to 3-part harmony,
Yeah.
which is really
Yeah,
fun.
these guys
Oh,
will
yeah.
stop or
Yeah.
we'll be jamming like, let's take a moment. What note are you singing there, Jen? And Clinton, and they'll kind of do a little back and forth and figure out. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
That's awesome. 3-part harmony. Yeah,
Yeah, we haven't even started to use the Jeff Smith's beautiful
absolute.
choir boy voice yet,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Governmental voice.
yeah, I mean, Chris is a great singer,
Yeah.
songwriter.
We're trying to
Man.
get Chris to
So that's
sing.
5-piece.
Oh, hello.
I don't like the microphone in front of my face.
I know.
You're
I
Mike.
feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Just like
Push it away.
just like yell into like the tom mic or something, or like the overheads. You know, sing into the overhead mic.
playing guitar would be so much more fun without having to be like encumbered by like a bunch of pedals and a microphone in front of you. Just yeah,
Yeah. It's, I guess you got to
tie
kind
it
of.
down to something. You know?
Yeah. Guitar, you're kind of tethered to your board.
yeah,
Yeah. For now, until you can think it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So when you're judging by your guitars I've seen you play, Chris, and your tones, like,
Right.
do you hunt for tones quite a bit for Penny Blacks, or how does that? Do you kind of?
To an extent, when we're recording, like, when we were doing long lights, I remember or did quite a bit in my kitchen, and it was mostly just like stacking gain and trying to get gain sounds. But yeah, over the years, I think I kind of like have figured out on a couple guitars just like how to change the sound even with the volume knob on the guitar and
Cool.
little things like that just, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at practice and stuff. So
Okay.
newer stuff might be more just trying to keep it simple, but yeah.
And do you try to just, like, what you capture on tape is what you use for the tone? Like, does much happen in the box after you record tone-wise, or do you kind of just capture it and keep the mix pretty simple?
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, there must be after it's recorded, like if you take it to board, there must be some like EQing and stuff. Like
I think-
that's what.
Sean Boyer, who does a lot of our mixing, I think he's against EQing stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
wants
Cool.
as little as possible to get what you've recorded.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's cool,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was curious about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of, because that's the vibe. Like, yeah, so the band does sound very gelled together, you know? Like, it doesn't sound like it's, like, sometimes, you know what I mean? It sounds like it's pieced together different, even though you're recording in different places, like you mentioned after when we were listening to your song.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel that way to me. Like, it feels pretty cohesive.
Yeah, I mean, that probably comes from, especially with Harbor, that we had been playing those songs together for quite a while. And, like, we recorded them all together. When Clint recorded the drums, we were all there playing with him. We just, we started with just those drum tracks, then retracked everything, sort of more clinically. Just,
Over top.
Yeah,
Like,
you
perform it together, keep the drums, and then retrack on top of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is when, typically when we go in and we start the album, we're just focusing on, all our best mics are on the drums for this session. Let's
Yeah.
get all the drums, and then we'll go back and, like, make sure Chris is happy with his tone, I'm happy with mine, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting limitation now that you mention it, is like sometimes you don't have enough mics to do, like, you do the drums because you need that many mics.
Yeah.
And you might not have the right mics to capture, even if you wanted to do it live off the floor
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah. Or your interface only has,
Yeah.
so many mic inputs. So
You're right. Yeah.
I don't know how well it comes across on either of the full length records, but to me, it's like a DIY aesthetic to the whole recording process.
On the records, like, it sounds that way.
They're made that way. That's
They're
how
made- yeah.
That's how
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I don't know how well it comes across on the record, but that's all I hear. But I'm in the band, so
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, it feels very DIY. Like, just as same as you'd be at home using your own 4-track or whatever. Making the records kind of felt like that, which is a great low pressure way of not feeling like red lights on recording.
Yeah. Red light fever.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, DIY. So I guess, DIY. I'm trying to think how my first impression. I'm like taking the impression of my music I had of the music recently, and like listening and like hearing it as if like mixed in with music coming out today. So yeah, it doesn't sound DIY. It just sounds like more real or something. I don't really know, but yeah, I don't know what word to use. But
Take that.
yeah. So you can kind of hear that sound in St. John in general, really, when I think about like these Penny Black records. They're some of them are a decade old, right?
Yeah.
But then there's still that kind of vibe that's happening with Tooth and the Fang and Dr. Mother Father, and like St. John kind of has this rock and roll sound a little bit, doesn't it? I'm just kind of thinking out loud right now, to be honest. I was just putting it together.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
There's a sound there of some kind, even though there's different people working on the music, like Sean Boyer and Corey Bonnevie
Yeah.
in Trillium Studios. But even Catherine's record would have that in there a little bit, like the tones.
Yeah, probably
A little
so.
bit.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. Well, I mean, the band of the bands you mentioned there, like Jeff is in Tooth and Fang, or used Tooth and Fang, and he was it was just natural. I don't remember there ever even be a conversation. Where I don't remember you ever saying like, "What do you guys think about Jeff?" It was just like, well, of course Jeff's going to play with us. Of course, it just makes sense.
Well, Jeff did the Magnolia Electric company.
Jeff and Jen,
yeah, that's right.
it's like, that's how I kind of like. We did a tribute set a few times to Jason Molina, Magnolia Electric Company, Songs of Hyatt.
Okay.
And so Jen and Jeff Smith were involved in that, and that was the first time Jen and I sang together, and that's why I was like, oh, we should get Jen to sing some on Penny Black. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that's how we kind of
Came to be.
Yeah, and I met Jeff through playing like with Maple Visit and Tire Fire and those guys, and it's just like Clinton said, it's just like
Of course.
Easy guy to like and play music with.
Yeah. He seems like a pretty chill guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Cool. So Area 506. No other gigs coming up for the rest of the year, or do you know yet? Anything?
We're working on trying to line up some more stuff.
Yeah.
It's difficult because everybody's trying to get back in it at the same time.
Yeah,
So
true.
I'm finding it difficult to find little slots where you can
Yeah.
get some shows happening.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, everyone's like anxious to. It seems like there's a lot of fests popping up and like all kinds of shows.
Yeah. So hopefully we did Moncton, St. John. We played Miramichi. Hopefully we'll get try and hit all the markers on the board. Get a Halifax show. Maybe play Fredericton for sure, and
Yeah.
try and get some other stuff happening between now and the fall.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Halifax would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Halifax, just a matter of finding a venue and somebody to play with.
I'd imagine if the vibe in St. John is the way it is, like Halifax must be experiencing a similar uptick in most things.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
talked to a few people there, just as part of trying to get some shows and see what the current bands are and where people are playing. And Jay Vautour, the St. John guy who lives there now, a good friend of ours, I picked his brain recently, and he mentioned a bunch of bands that I hadn't heard of that I'm going to check out.
Cool.
And a couple places to play. A lot of the bands that we kind of would jibe with, and like people we played with before, I've noticed, like Corey Eisner, and they're all playing like some of these microbrewery tap rooms that are doing shows all the time. So that might be a way to go too.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting, like you mentioned bands you haven't heard of before, like made me think, obviously like during the pandemic, there must be like this batch of bands that have all been playing for 2 or 3 years, and they're probably ready to record or put out whatever they've been working on.
You would think so.
Like, there must be just this ball of this angst. What positive, like there must supposed to be this like collection of music just sitting there waiting to explode.
Yeah.
I think it's happening, especially with some of the younger people too, who are just on the sort of edge of starting to do something.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, COVID hit and they couldn't play. They couldn't practice. They never got an opportunity to play live or get that skill. And now they're all like exploding.
Yeah. Learning what shows are and everything.
Yeah.
Just interacting with other musicians even to play together.
Yeah.
Because it was all just kind of yourself in front of your computer sort of thing for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I did hear, but it might have been Victor Wooten that was, do you know him, Victor Wooten, Mellow Fleck and the Flecktones?
Okay, yeah.
He's got a cool philosophy on music in general, but he was saying, was it him who was saying this? Anyway, yeah, someone went to a show and hadn't like experienced live music in so long they forgot that it like had a physical feeling to it, and that like it just kind of like made them have like a paradigm shift a little bit. Like it doesn't matter how high quality your earbuds are and everything, but being in the room where all the air is moving and everything.
Yeah.
So there'd be tons of people that are experiencing that for the first time, even kind of later in life than maybe they should have or would have. Really, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's been cool to get out and see some shows again. It's also, I still find, like a little bit for myself, I still will have a bit of anxiety being in a room with a bunch of people now. I'm not used to it like I was once. But I think there's also some people, like it's like there's people who have a lot of anxiety about getting back into it. You know what I mean? Like it's still like a weird sort of like gray area.
Yeah.
Getting from like being locked down and back to normal or whatever.
Yeah.
And with this virus still out there or whatever else is coming down the pike.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Still being shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
Sweat flying around. Yeah. True. Interesting. What about the name Penny Blacks? Is that like, it makes me just think of currency. Is that?
That's interesting.
Is that where the name came from?
It's from a stamp. It's a stamp, like a really rare postage stamp from the
Oh, really?
UK. Yeah.
Cool. Like a highly collectible stamp?
Yeah, I think it's quite valuable.
Penny Blacks.
It doesn't happen so much anymore, but when when Allie was actively playing with us, it would always be, we'd go to a venue and somebody would go, "Are you Penny?"
I think it's already happened once.
That'll start to be you now.
Really? Yeah.
No,
Are you Penny?
Jenny.
Jenny Black.
Yeah, you spelled the name wrong. You got the band name wrong.
Typo. My name's Jenny.
Okay.
It'd be amazing if, like, 10 years from now, like, we're done or whatever. But like, if we had some notoriety that you keep touring as Jenny Black, playing all this
Yeah.
lawsuit.
I do
Like whole,
electronic
clear
versions
water.
of
Yeah.
Just the piano and the harmonies.
Actually, now that you say that, Clinton, when I was listening to sorry, I can't. What's the name of that?
Moleskin Weather.
Moleskin Weather.
Yeah.
There's a couple of songs where I was like, man, I would love to hear the timbre of your voice with a piano. Like
Yeah.
whatever, like arranged on a piano, like just the tone, like just the way the tonal characteristics were.
Yeah, we'll probably try and work some of that in on the new stuff when we record it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple songs I thought would be. Well,
Cool. Yeah,
that's just what I wanted to hear, so I figured I'd tell you. Yeah,
we gotta do it.
yeah, do it. I think that'd
And
be
Jay,
pretty cool.
you did play piano at
Just gonna say,
the
you played
BMO.
piano solo
did.
at that BMO show.
Oh, you did play. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So you can play
tried it.
piano. So now there's
Played my
no
piano.
no excuse.
Yeah, I know.
I can keep bugging you.
have to
Just
start
redo the whole EP,
practicing again.
piano and vocal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool.
Get back to tickling the ivories
Tickling the ivories.
and
Yeah.
playing piano.
Do you have a process for writing songs? Do you usually start on the guitar, or do you ever write on piano?
No. I mean, at that point when I did that show where I played a couple tunes, because I was playing piano so much, I just wrote a couple things on it at that time. But generally, it's I pick up a guitar and
all
that's how
guitar.
it starts. Yeah,
Is it like acoustic guitar, or do you go kind of for the?
it's both.
Yeah.
But I find more acoustic guitar currently.
Currently, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes like I write at home and like you can't. I'm not really cranking an electric guitar that loud at home. So, but sometimes if I'm at a rehearsal space, I'll wind up writing louder stuff there, sort of thing. But generally, acoustic guitar. Yeah.
Do you find it do you write it on acoustic and then translate it to electric? Do you like keep them like do they seem to say just separate?
Yeah.
the output.
Yeah. Anything I write on acoustic is generally going to be for Penny Blacks or just like a solo thing. The noisier or louder stuff will be for something else, like, whether it's like, it would have been hospital grade back in the day, but, kind of put them aside for a louder sort of like project, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Very
But
cool.
that being said, we do have a couple of like loud tunes up for this new album that, are fully like electric rock kind of tunes.
Like, I'm a sweaty mess trying to keep up. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, when I saw you guys were louder than I was expect. I hadn't seen you before actually until that
Okay.
not too long ago at the Five and Dime.
Right on.
And it was more aggressive than I was expecting. But I'm also like older man now, so maybe
Yeah.
maybe my opinion can't be trusted.
Don't know what you mean, Jay. Yeah.
Yeah.
we definitely have taken, starting with like long lights, like a sort of like an arc upwards into more like being kind of grittier and more like
Yeah.
rock electric based. It used to be more. Yeah.
Which is usually the opposite trajectory for most acts.
Yeah.
Usually you go the other way.
I think it's because I didn't get into Neil Young till I was like in my 40s. So
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
can blame Neil Young for this late entry.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did Jeff Smith get you into Neil Young?
No, it was just kind of, it was weird that, it was like kind of just in a couple of years before that I started really digging into Neil's discography. And then when I moved back,
Yeah.
that's when I met Jeff. And it's just coincidence that Jeff's like the huge Neil Young guy. And,
Gotcha.
but so are these guys. I just hadn't really I grew up thinking Neil Young was like a dirty hippie and didn't want to listen to his stuff.
Yeah.
I was more into like punk rock and stuff.
Yeah, the
And
punk
it took,
rock.
Yeah, I reached a certain headspace, getting older, where that sort of lines didn't have to be drawn for me anymore. And I was like, I should check out all this music
Yeah.
I ignored for all these years.
Yeah. Yeah, ignored only just because you thought you were supposed to or something. Yeah.
It's like my dad listens to Neil Young. I'm not going to put that record on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
And
that's
now Clinton's my dad.
now you hate all his
You write something down, for God's sake.
Yeah, it sucks. That's funny. Yeah, I think a lot of people go through that kind of phase, probably, like especially if you're really involved in a certain scene or something when you're younger, and pretty typical evolution, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I know some people who've had a similar sort of trajectory and they regret that they didn't get into all this stuff, but I'm
Yeah.
kind of glad because I find all this stuff is new to me, and it's like all this potential of new things I could listen to ahead of me, right? So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I never feel like there's nothing new out there or jaded, like I've heard it all or some
Yeah.
crazy thing.
That's usually one of the best things. I've always thought the best things about meeting someone new is they can show you music, and if you can have someone who can like guide you, like someone's recommending certain albums or something about, it just makes the experience more enjoyable to have like you kind of guided or pointed down a certain path.
For sure, yeah.
So like, and combine that with always kind of taking in new stuff. Like, there's no reason to stop digesting like new music or art, in my opinion.
For sure, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What does the panel think?
Where's what?
What does the panel think?
The panel?
The panel.
That's you guys.
We're the panel?
We're the
You're the
panel.
panel.
We're the pundits.
Oh, okay. All right, fair.
No comment.
No comment.
All right, let's cut to the weather. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Cool. Well, we're almost out of time. 8:51 though. We still got 9 minutes.
Wow.
That's just not enough time to play Long Lights.
That's right.
Oh, nice. Yeah. 9-minute tune. Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I'll play it. Well, can I leave the mic on and you'll sing along to it?
Oh, I'll grunt and
Grunt. Death metal
tickle
version.
Clinton.
Did you happen to hear that metal song I played before you folks came on?
Yeah, we're
That
singing
extreme epic metal. Couldn't even believe it when I heard that song.
That's our new direction.
Oh man, that's the new Penny Blacks. That was actually the new Penny Blacks record, everyone.
That's right.
Okay, second. I'll try to multitask here and talk. It's not like we're live on the air or anything.
Yeah,
Cool.
so everybody
Yeah,
should
you're
come
right,
out
man.
to Area 506. We're playing on the Sunday.
Sunday, yeah. Do you know what time you're playing?
I think it's right around supper time.
Yeah, I wanted to say 5, yeah.
Yeah.
5. Cool.
Yeah.
On Sunday. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be a good weekend for Uptown and everybody who likes live music. To get peeps from all over Canada and from the US coming down for this festival. So
Yeah.
should be a busy time.
Yeah, and it's awesome. The local bands that get support through that too. Like, I've mentioned that with a couple of the other artists. Like, it's so cool having a multiple day festival have multiple local acts, and then like on the bill a few bands later, someone like Billy Talent or Metric or
Yeah,
whatever. Like,
right,
that's
yeah.
so cool that it's been.
Opening for Sam Roberts.
Yeah, that's amazing, right? And it's going on years now. It's not like it's a 1 or 2 year like is this
Yeah.
going to keep rolling thing. Like, it seems. I mean, they have a permanent container village and stuff now. So.
Yeah.
So not only is it cool the festivals coming here, but the way they support the local scene is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or at least it seems that way to me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they do a great job of making sure that New Brunswick is represented as well as bringing in all these, other touring acts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I might as well say too, like, I'm the program facilitator here at the station, and we're working on like a fundraising show there this summer. I've been talking to Ray about it, so we're hoping to do like July 14th. It's probably the day.
Awesome.
And so they're going to let us use the stage there and everything. So that's pretty cool. Still
Yeah,
haven't ironed out all the details yet, but
Check that out.
yeah. So that's a good opportunity for the scene in general. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for coming in. This was fun.
having us.
Thanks
Yeah,
for this.
no problem.
Thanks
Thanks, Chat GPT, for that poetry earlier.
for that. Yeah, that Chad guy, he rules.
Chat. I look forward to the new record, and so that's going to be pretty exciting. I think I'll wait patiently.
Yeah, we should probably get on that.
Yeah,
We're
I'll,
excited to hear it too.
I'll keep. I'll send periodic messages about it. Okay, so we'll finish off the show with Long Lights. You're right. It's a long tune, 9 minutes. That's right up my alley.
Perfect.
I heard Jeff Smith likes long songs, so let's.
Yeah, he loves it.
He likes it.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. I was going to dedicate it to him. So if he's listening, this one's for you. All right, Long Lights. Thanks a lot for coming in.
Thank you, man.
You've been listening to the Radical Fabulatorium, Local FM 107.3. You can check us out at localfm.ca. You can also check me out at johnadamian.com. Have a good night.